Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second annual Global Goddess Fest, a week-long virtual festival to inspire, activate, and connect female leaders, entrepreneurs, and creatives worldwide. So today, I'm really excited to have Florencia Gerbi here. She is tuning in from California, but originally from Argentina. So thank you so much for being here and joining us.
Oh, thank you for including me. This is great.
Yeah. Yes, it's so good. And so Florencia and I actually connected through a mutual friend who said you have to get her onto the Global Goddess Fest. And at the beginning of this call, I connected the dots that we had actually met before at this really beautiful event that she hosted and has been hosting for the last 5 years called Viva la Vida. And it's all about bringing people together, bringing cool people together to just share an experience. And not doing it for money or profit or for anything other than the connection. And so that's how we got to meet, which was really it was a beautiful event. So I'm excited to share more about what she's up to with all of you all that are watching. And so to give you some background, Florencia is the CEO and founder of Green Tacha, which is this beautiful company that makes straw hats from Ecuador. She's also a dancer and a surfer, a lover and an artist, and really bringing together her Argentinian roots with the culture that she's living in, the California surf culture. As you can see, she has like the awesome surfboards behind her.
Oh yeah. And I am wet because I just came back from the ocean.
Perfect.
It was beautiful.
Oh, amazing.
Well, thank you for such an introduction, and I'm really happy to tell my story and hopefully inspire other girls and other women and out there too, because everybody has something inside to share. And that's one of the beautiful things that always guide me, like find your own beauty and then work on it, and then also appreciate the others' beauty, because they are always going to share something that is gonna like something, or sometimes mirror or challenge you, but it's kind of that's how I take life, and it's a journey, or I'd like to say it's a dance.
It's completely. So I'd love to have you share about your journey in coming up with this idea for this business, and kind of what was that inspiration where you were just decided to, okay, I want to team up with these women that are doing this beautiful weaving of the straw hats, and how did that story unfold?
I have one right here. So they actually smell good. They come from a palm in Ecuador. They are like, it's one of the most beautiful traditions of America, I would say. It's a really fine tradition, and people know it as Panama hats. But I'll go to the beginning of the story, so I'll make it fun. So start with a surf trip, obviously. I was with my sister in Ecuador. We were actually doing balsa surfboards at that time. And I wanted to start a company, and I needed to start a company to stay in the United States as well. So I had my visa, my working visa. It was through my company. But I wanted to do something that really was meaningful to me. And when I went to Ecuador and I found these balsa boards, I was like, I met the shapers, and it was just all so cool. I was like, oh, the green rag. And so I dreamed about selling surfboards at the beginning. And in one trip in 2010, I was there with my sister and my niece. She was 6 months, a baby, and my mom was there. And Julia Alvarez, that is a really good photographer and friend. So we were there checking the shapers and the balsa boards and stuff. And a friend of mine calls me from Ecuador, and he says, why don't you go see the hats? And he said, oh, so he connected me with some people, and they introduced me to the hat path. And that was like something that changed our life forever, because that's when Green Tacha kind of like was born, in the sense that we went to the first community where they will do where they will grow the palms in the mountains of the coast of Ecuador, and then they will go at 4 a.m. in the morning at dawn and harvest them by hand, and then bring them back to the town, and the whole town prepares the straw by, like, they cut the leaves one by one, these weavers, and they can share beautiful photography about that. And then then after that they boil them in water, the leaves, and then they dry them in the sun. And that straw, when it's ready, travels to the mountains, and it's the straw that all the Panama hats of the world are made from. They come from that particular place, from the coast of Ecuador. So they go to the mountains in Ecuador as well, and where the community of weavers live. So we were invited to go there, and the ladies greet us with a lunch. And they live, in a humble situation, but super connected with nature. And they have they grow their crops, they grow their animals, and they cook for us delicious food from their corn, from their, the farms around. And it was just like, wow, thank you. Like we were like two Argentinians with a baby and my mom, and these ladies greet us like that. And so at the beginning we started working with some people that were already in the hat business, and then one day they told me, well, we don't want to, we kind of work with you anymore. And we were like, oh no. So I connected directly with the weavers, and one of them, Rosa, who is a leader, and she's a super smart lady, and she's the leader of the group. They were just starting an association of women for weaving, and so I would communicate with her via email. So she was super cute, like I speak Spanish, so that was really helpful. And she was like writing to me, and so we placed the first order. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't know nothing about hats. We don't know nothing about. The only thing that I knew was about the surf industry, because my husband is well involved in the surf industry. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna do a beach hat for surfers. But I tried that at the beginning, and it didn't work out, because my surfer friends, most of them have a green pacha hat, but on the overall like surf industry, the hat is very expensive because it's a fine hat. So in that industry, it didn't work out. So like 3 years ago, we talked with my friend, a friend that she is helping us in Green Patch, Argentina. And she said, well, I help you to understand a little bit fashion. So we switched it and started doing Green Patch in the fashion world as a sustainable, ethical brand, which it was like a great timing, because now everybody is talking about, like there is a fashion revolution. There is the summit of sustainable fashion in Copenhagen. There is a lot of people talking about reinventing fashion. So we were born green in that sense, and founded in really good values. So for us, it was like, okay, no brainer, let's do it. So we're trying to be well known. If you need a sun hat, think about Green Pacha. And then because it's a hat that is made from a noble material, super natural, treated all the time by human hands, and with love. So this was 8 years ago when I founded it, and my sister and I, we kept going to Ecuador every year. And instead of going there just to do business, we came and shared with the weavers. So one day we did a parade with them. We dressed like Cuencanas, and we went like and paraded with them. Another time, they hosted a big lunch in an Inca ruin, very sacred place. And it's like a mesa pampa, it's called. So they put like, it was like a potluck, basically. Everybody brought, these weavers, amazing. They brought food to share. And they always host us with these amazing meals and parties. We mostly party, and then like in the last 5 minutes we will just work. so in that thing, we created a really cool bond with them, and they learned to trust us, because at the beginning we're like, why are you taking my picture, or right. Stuff like that. So we were always super careful and respectful, and made them understand that we wanted to tell their story as much as they wanted it, and that we wanted to help them as much as they want We didn't want to impose anything. We are not a charity. We wanted to do something which is create a bridge between the wisdom that these women have, because they live really in harmony with nature, because they live simply, and probably the modern world in the cities, and where there is so much, and sometimes so much that we don't need, and we get into that. So we were hoping to create this bridge, so that when you get a green pacha, you kind of like have a moment of like, oh, this is a nice planet we're living in. Just take a breath, I'm gonna enjoy the sun with the shade, and be grateful for life. And it's a little bit more simpler sometimes than we. And so that's kind of like what we have been building. Of course, we have the element of being green, because it's a green hat. This is just a straw, and it's beautifully treated. There is it's like making love to the way, to the palm, and just converting it in a beautiful way. Human creativity to the most in a craft, right? In the level of a craft, this is. But also we support women, so that's something that is really another really good strength about Green Pacha. We have been working with these women, and they have been they've opened to us. They told us stories. They weave me while they walk in the green hills of Ecuador, and they're praying. So each hat has the magic of a prayer, and good vibes. And then they're probably like taking care of their animals or walking around, and they're doing their daily life. There's no sweatshops. They just weave in their homes or walking around doing their tasks. So
how beautiful.
And they share all of this magic to us, just because we wanted to know them better. My sister did a great job, because her daughter is half Ecuadorian, and that's probably why we started with Ecuador, because Yanua is my niece, and she's half Ecuadorian. The dad lives there, so my sister went more times to Ecuador than me, and she actually lived with the weavers in their homes, and she learned how to weave, and she did a really good job. So she's the co-founder of Green Pacha, and she lives in Argentina. So we meet, my sister and I, we meet in Ecuador every year, and that's also another good strength about Green Pacha, which is my sisterhood with my sister from California to Mar del Plata in Argentina. We keep it alive, in Green Pacha.
And I hear such an important value that you hold, and also that the company holds, of just this really deep personal connection. And I think that's so cool, because I think a lot of the times, we'll think of business being this very strategic and boring, or maybe there's this divide between the relationships that you have once you step into business, but being able to really keep it more like family, and creating business for win-win situations, and really creating business for greater impact in the world. It doesn't have to just be one person wins and one person loses.
No, that's right. For us, I study a lot of things before becoming but I define myself as an artist. And if I was going to have a business, I want my business to be the coolest environment ever, because I myself don't want to work another way. And sometimes, it's challenging, because you got to see the numbers. You need to do the numbers. You got to go there and make it. And that's the most difficult part about doing a business, until you decide the numbers are beautiful too. And you make peace with mathematics and economical, and it's just instead of being afraid of seeing that, just okay, this is part. And so that's kind of like running a business. It's like both sides of the brain have to work. Of course, I gravitate more towards my right side of the brain, and my emotional. I'm passionate about Green Pacha and the art part, because we like to connect with designers and artists and bring, the hats to another level.
Right.
The craft that we have been working with designers, and we created some super cool pieces that were revolution in the tradition of Panama hats, because nobody did it before.
Right.
And that was because we work with really good designers. And then and so what happened to me is like sometimes I get trapped in that, and then when I had to see the numbers, boring, I don't want to see that part. But also, like I learned that I had to go and do that, and I'm trying to love that as much as I love my creative side of the business, because that's actually what makes a business. Otherwise, like I will have to have a mecenas and be an artist,
right?
And that's not what I want. I want to be able to have the balance between the two, because then I will and then when I hire people, they can have the environment that I envision.
Yeah. Did you always think you were going to be owning a business or starting a business?
Well, when I was 21, I had a vision. I saw myself, running a business, like a cool, nice. I saw myself like sitting in a with like bunch of artists and managing people. I had a vision, but then I didn't pursue that consciously. Life took me there. Right. And that would have been my only glimpse of the future. But I always wanted to live close to nature and to the ocean, because I'm a surfer. So being I am a dancer that translated her dance into the surfing. So when I go in the ocean, I'm a soul surfer, and I like to feel the wave and dance with it. And so I wake up, and my first thing that I check is my daughter, of course, my baby girl. But after that, I go check the waves, the wind, and everything. So when I put Gina to school, she's 5 already. Then I just think about, I go to the ocean. There is so, and then after that, my life starts. So for me, it's very important that I can do my business from anywhere in the world. And so I am still, tweaking details, but on the overall, I have a small company, in the sense that we're 5 people together working from different parts of the world. Like, for example, my stepdaughter, she's in charge of the social media, and she's really cool. She's an artist as well, and she was working from Bali. So we will wake up, and then my sister is in Argentina, and my salesperson is in New York, and my husband is our business advisor, he's really good. So I had to schedule, like Bali time with New York time, with Argentina time, with California time, in a meeting,
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, this is happening. We did, and I was like, if I can do this, and we can succeed doing this, this is freedom. Because we can do it from anywhere. And
totally.
So that's what I am trying to do. I'm trying to make an example of a healthy small medium company that everybody can live from, and everybody can express the maximum of their creativity, and that I am able to guide them with the freedom to be creative, but at the same time with the guidance not to get lost in the So that's the journey, and that's what I want. So besides doing good with the weavers and creating beautiful products and selling in beautiful boutiques, I also want to create a really cool working environment, so that everybody can say, oh, I have this idea. Let's just think about how we apply it. And then, money is out there. You just have to know how to attract it and make it, convert it into, process it basically, without harming nature, without harming others. And
I love that piece of always coming back to nature. And I think that's just such a big part of your essence, being a surfer. And I love that you really honor the women that are, putting the prayers into every weave and where they get their materials from. And so creating these really eco-friendly businesses I just love that you're doing that and have really followed through and making sure that is a big value in what you're giving to the world. I think it seems like there's a revolution happening, you know, where a lot of companies are wanting to do that. And I think you got lucky because you started it from the ground up in that way. So would you have any insight for anyone that maybe already has a company or is involved with a company that isn't quite sustainable? Like, how could they bring in practices or like even just like the mindset of really giving back to nature through their work?
Definitely. As I said, for me, it's easy because we were born green.
Yeah.
But what I would go to gather information that is really accurate and cool is go check the Copenhagen Fashion Summit. It occurs every May in Copenhagen, but there is a really cool website, and they have a lot of executive summaries about what they do, and you can go read, and it's really, really helpful. But I actually read them, and there is a lot of information for companies of what they can do. You can also go and participate in the summit if you have the means, but also just reading from there. And then there are people that are in the, and I'm talking about fashion because surfing industry is not sustainable in the way they produce, but surfers, we are aware because we are in the ocean all the time, so we know we need to change. Sometimes because of they are already in a system, and financially it's not that easy to change. But the tools are out there, and I think that all big changes in the world started with a minority, so I don't see why not. And well, that's one of the sources I would go. Then there is a lady in fashion that is a friend, a dear friend, and she's also a consultant, and she's always gravitating towards sustainable and ethical fashion. And her name is Julie Girha. So following her on Instagram might give you, because she's always posting relevant stuff. Then from there, once you enter to a good person like those two that I gave you, and then see who those two follow, and there's relevant people already talking this. So if you just surround yourself with people that are like in this wave of green consuming, because basically it starts when you consume. That will be helpful just to be aware. Sometimes like I found myself not doing all the time green stuff. But at least I am conscious, and if I make a decision that is not exactly the greenest, I'm aware. The thing is, I think that the more we are aware, and the more we can create a community of people doing the right thing. And it's about sharing. So for me, this platform, and when you invited me and Angelina, who I respect a lot, I was like, okay, yes, of course, I want to share, because I also want to learn. I want to see what other women are saying and learn from them. And I think that's how you build community. And we were talking the other day with a friend and my husband about how do we change the world, which is like totally fucked up. We're killing this planet. It's so beautiful. We forgot the only thing that we needed to do was protect the planet, because it's just such a small, tiny little planet in the infinite universe, and we're here destroying each other. And I don't know why. Well, I don't know exactly why, but I don't care. I just think that we can remember who we are, and from there, maybe just take a breath. Right.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and the work that you're doing. And I know that it's going to be inspiring many women that are watching this video. And so hopefully it's sparking ideas for them to also figure out how can they really utilize that connection, that inherent human connection with the planet and with Earth, and really build that into everything they're doing. So thank you so much to all of our viewers. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Rae. You're beautiful. Thank you for what you're doing. This is great.